Hi guys, welcome back. Today's video is going to be my 2023 reading wrap up. I'm going to go through every single book that I read last year. So last year was the first year that I really got into reading. I did read a little bit back in 2022, but I think I read like 4 or 5 books towards the end. So 2023 was the first like almost full year. I think I really started getting into it in like March. So I read 46 books last year, which to me, I'm really proud of that. That is a lot of books. Most months I read 5, but there were a couple months that I was just really busy and I wasn't able to read as much. But overall, I'm proud of reading 46. So yeah, I have 4 stacks over here. I don't know if you can see all of them, but I have 4 stacks of books, and somehow I got them into order when I pulled them off the shelf. So this will be in order of the first ones that I read last year up until the last week of 2023. And then I also have my Goodreads up on my computer, so I'll be able to tell you all the ratings. I'm gonna try to go through this very quickly, so like each book may get 1 sentence. I'm just gonna tell you the rating and maybe a quick thought on it. So with that, let's just get right into it. So the first book that I read last year was Then She Was Gone by Lisa Jewell. I ended up giving this book 5 stars. It was a really good book, but it's very dark, very twisted. The next one is Reminders of Him by Colleen Hoover. This is when I was in my Colleen Hoover phase. I gave this book 4 stars. Looking back, it would probably be less than that, but this book was cute, but also really sad. The next one is Archer's Voice by Mia Sheridan. I absolutely loved this book. I know a lot of people like it. I gave this one 5 stars. It had a lot of good and bad emotions in it. The next one is The Guest List by Lucy. I'll say it again, I've said it a million times. I don't know if it's Folly or Foley. I'll figure it out eventually, but I gave this book 4 stars. This one was really good. It's a thriller about people being stranded on an island. But yeah, 4 stars. I could probably lower it to 3. It doesn't like stand out to me. The next one is Survive the Night by Riley Sager. I was really going through a thriller phase, but I ended up giving this book 5 stars. A lot of people don't like this book as much because it does take place in a car, like 95% of the book, but it kept me on my toes the whole time and I really liked it. The next one is Beach Read by Emily Henry. I did only give this book 3 stars. If y'all have watched my videos, you may know that I'm not the biggest fan of Emily Henry. Her writing just isn't for me. So yeah, this book was 3 stars, but I want to reread it this year and give it another chance. The next one is Verity by Colleen Hoover. I gave this book 4 stars. I feel like this is a book that was very hyped up last year, and although it was good, I feel like it was a little more hyped up than it should have been, but overall, pretty good book. The next one is The Paris Apartment by, again, Lucy Foley. I gave this book 3 stars, but it could honestly be a 2. I did not vibe with this book. There are like 10 different point of views. I did not like that, but yeah, I probably wouldn't recommend this. The next one is another Colleen Hoover, Ugly Love. I gave this book 4 stars. It was sad, but I've seen TikToks recently about how cringy this book was, and I totally agree. So yeah, I could probably lower this rating too, but I don't know. I'd recommend it, but I also wouldn't, if that makes sense. Okay, so the next 3 books that I read were I'll just talk about them together, were the Summer I Turned Pretty series. I know that this one does not match. I got the first one on accident with like real people on the cover, and then the other 2 are the matching ones, which really bugs me. But overall, I did like this series. The show is so good. I gave the first book 5 stars, and then I also gave the second book 5 stars. These are more like summery fun ones, and then the last one was a little weird. It took place more at college. There was more like cringy drama to me, but I gave this book 4 stars. The next one is The Overnight Guest. I absolutely loved this book. Really good thriller, kept me on my toes. There was a really big plot twist at the end, and I love that this book doesn't have a lot of hype. It's like, I feel like I found it when like not a lot of other people have read it, but yeah, I gave this book 4 stars. The next book was Daisy Jones and the Six. I gave this book 4 stars. Again, this book was really good, but it wasn't as good as I feel like it was hyped up to be, but I'd still recommend it. Okay, we're going into the second stack. Okay, the next one was Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter. I really liked this book. Cute little summer romance. This was a really good summer book to read. I gave this 4 stars. The next one is The Summer of Broken Rules. I absolutely loved this one. 5 stars. I want to reread this one this summer. The next one is Every Summer After by Carly Fortune. I also really loved this book. I think I read this one Yeah, I rated this one 5 stars too. It was really good. I remember for both of these, I read them back to back and I sat outside and had a little drink and sat in the sun and tanned while I read these, and I absolutely loved both of them. The next one is People Who Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. Again, I gave this book 3 stars. Emily Henry's not my favorite. I don't really like her style of writing, but it wasn't a horrible book. Like, I'd still recommend it. The next one is Happy Place by Emily Henry. This is the one exception. I actually really liked this book. On Goodreads, it says I gave this book 3 stars, but I feel like it was 4. Because when I think back on this book, I liked it. So, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and say it was a 4, even though my Goodreads says 3 for some reason. But out of all of her books that I've read, I would definitely recommend this one the most. And also just look at how cute the cover is. The next one is Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren. This book was really sad, but I gave this 4 stars. Next up is The Silent Patient. This was a book that I wanted to read for so long because it has so much hype around it, and it was really, really good. I like the plot twist at the end. I gave this book 5 stars. The next one is If He Had Been With Me. This book was really, really sad, but it's not a book that I look back on and think about a lot, but it was really sad in the moment, and I'm pretty sure that this book has a sequel coming out in the boys' point of view. I could be totally wrong. Am I thinking of the right book right now? But I did rate this 4 stars. Next is Twisted Love. This is the first book in a series of 4 books, I'm pretty sure. This one was, what did I rate this? I rated this 4 stars. I know a lot of people really like this series, and I think there's one book out of the series that people like the most. But yeah, this book was a little cringy at the beginning. I remember there being some quotes towards the beginning that the main guy said that I was like, ew, don't like that. But I don't know. I say it's really good, but I read this almost a year ago and I haven't picked up any of the other books in the series, so I don't know what that says. Maybe it means that it just wasn't that good. But yeah, I would still recommend it. Like, I really liked it still. The next one is The Wedding Ringer by Kelly Ray, I hope it is, Rhea Ray. So this is another book that I have not really heard a lot of people talk about, but I really, really liked this book. I actually gave it 4 stars, which I was so surprised. I got this for my half-priced books, and it was just so good. This is a trope that I feel like people don't hear about a lot, and it's like a fake friend trope, not like fake dating, but a fake friend trope. So they pretend to be just like friends, 2 girls, and it was really, really cute. So I would recommend this. The next one is Last Summer at Eden. I randomly found this at a Goodwill, and it was like $2, and I was like, oh, I like the cover, like these girls carrying canoes, like I'll read it. Nothing against if you like Christian books, but this ended up being a book about like a religious, like a Christian summer camp. And although the storyline was cute, I personally did not like how much it talked about God. Like, it was very, very, very focused on God, and it just wasn't for me. So I gave this book 3 stars, but it could honestly be a 2. On to the next stack. Okay, the next book I read was 50 Shades of Grey. I tried reading this because I was like, I absolutely love all the movies. I went to the premieres to them in high school, and I was like, I just love them, so I'm gonna try reading it. This book was so bad. It was so bad to me. I gave this 2 stars, which might be my lowest actually rated 2-star book on Goodreads. I really, really struggled to get through this. I would not recommend reading this. It was very cringy compared to the movies. The next one is We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. I liked the plot twist at the end of this book. It was a little cringy to me, and I feel like it was kind of like an easy way out, but I gave it 3 stars. It also felt very like childish to me, and it's not really a thriller. I don't know if it's actually classified as a thriller, but overall, I would recommend it. Like, it was a good read, and it was very, very fast. The text is huge in this book. I don't know if y'all can see, but yeah, wasn't my favorite, but wasn't like the worst book ever. The next one I read was A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. I absolutely loved this book. It was so fun to go on this little like thriller journey with the people in this book, and I'm so happy. I'm pretty sure that this book is coming out with either a movie or like a TV show series. And the girl from the show Wednesday, the blonde-haired girl, she's gonna be in it, I'm pretty sure. Don't know when that comes out, but I really liked this book, and I gave it 4 stars. The next book I read was The Good Daughter. This is a mass paperback copy, and I did not know that when I bought it on Amazon, so that's why it's really small. But this book was so, so good. This is another book that I have not really heard people talk about, but it is a thriller. This one had a really good plot twist at the end as well, and yeah, don't let how thick this book is. I think it's just so thick because it is the mass paperback copy, so they have to fit like more words onto like a smaller page, but I gave this book 5 stars. It's a really good thriller. And now this is where we get into my fantasy era. So I finally decided to pick up A Court of Thorns and Roses, and this series forever changed my life. Y'all will see that in my reading choices for the rest of the year after this series. You'll see in a minute. But so I read this book, absolutely loved it, gave it 5 stars, and then I immediately went into A Court of Mist and Fury, which y'all probably know is most people's favorite book. That is the case for me. This is my absolute favorite. This book is technically 5 stars, but it was the first book on my 6-star radar. So 6 stars. This was the first one on my list, and I save it for like the best of the best. Stole my heart. I think about this book every single day. I literally think about this book every single day. Absolutely loved it. Chef's kiss. Y'all should read it. Then obviously I went into A Court of Wings and Ruin. This book I gave 4 stars. This is the war book, which this book had some of my favorite quotes in it, but overall it is thicker, and the war wasn't my absolute favorite, but it was still so good. Yeah. I took a little break from the series for the next book, and I read Dear Wife by Kimberly Bell. I gave this book 3 stars. It wasn't horrible. This is another one of those books. Like, I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it. I don't know if I would recommend it or not. It does have a lot of like, what is the word? There is a lot of like not trigger warning. Well, maybe a trigger warning. Like, there's abuse in this. It was a little bit of a heavier book, but at the same time, it kind of felt more like young adult besides the abuse. I don't know how to explain this book, but overall, if you want to read it, go ahead, but I'm not gonna like tell y'all like you should read this book. Then I went into A Court of Frost and Starlight. This is the little novella. It's like 200 something pages, and I gave this book 4 stars. A lot of people rate this 2 or 3 stars, but just because it's so short, it's still a book, and I really enjoyed it because it's really happy and not like anything important happened, but it was just a lighthearted, happy, fun book. Then I read the second book in the Good Girls Guide to Murder series, which was Good Girl, Bad Blood. I think I also rated this. Okay, yeah, I rated this 4 stars. Same characters. It was just really good. Like, I love how the author writes these books, and I love that there's like real pictures. Not like real pictures. This stuff didn't really happen. Like, it's not based off a true story, but I just love like the illustrations and the stuff. I just love how the book was put together. I'd recommend that too. Now we're on to the last stack. Then I read The Girl on the Train by Paula Hawkins. This book, I remember this movie coming out a couple of years ago, and I never saw it. But that is Emily Blunt on the cover because she is the main character in the movie. But yeah, read this, rated it 4 stars. Good thriller, kept me on my toes the whole time. I did not know what was gonna happen next. Then I finished the ACOTAR series. I read A Court of Silver Flames. Every time I pick this up, I forget how chunky it is. Like, this is a brick. This was also the longest book that I read last year. I think it's like 700 something. Yeah, it's almost 800 pages. But I rated this book 4 stars. It is in a different point of view from the first 3 books, and it just, I don't like those characters as much as the characters in the first 3 books, like from their point of view, but overall, still 5-star series. Love all of the books. Then I took a break from fantasy and thriller, and I read a romance, which I felt like I hadn't read a romance in so long, and this is Mr. Wrong Number by Lynn Painter. This book I did not like as much as Lynn Painter's other books. I rated this one 3 stars. It was very cringy to me, and it felt more young adult, which it probably is young adult. I don't remember if there's spice scenes in this, but yeah, I would recommend it, but I didn't love it. Then I went into the Throne of Glass series, which I'm still currently reading, but I don't want any hate comments about the order that I chose to read this in. I read it in publication order, so I read Throne of Glass, and I rated this book 4 stars. I really liked it, but not as much as I thought I was gonna like it. Like, I didn't like this book as much as I liked the first ACOTAR book, but obviously I'd recommend it. I loved it. Then I went into Crown of Midnight. This book I also rated 4 stars. It was really good. Nothing more special about it than Throne of Glass, though. Then I took a break from the Throne of Glass series and read The Measure. This is another book that I have not heard a lot about from other people, but this is the first, like, almost sci-fi. I don't know if it's actually classified as sci-fi, but it was just different from any book I've ever read, and it was kind of like, not supernatural, but I don't know how to explain it. But overall, gave this book 3 stars. Was not horrible again, but I didn't love it. I'd still recommend it. It makes you kind of like think about life in a different perspective, if that makes sense. Then I read The Assassin's Blade, which a lot of people think you should read first. I don't know. I don't really have an opinion on it, but I gave this book 4 stars. The next book that I read was Heir of Fire. This is another book that while I'm picking this up, I'm like, this is chunky, but I absolutely loved this book. It was my first 5-star read of the series. Really, really enjoyed it. Read it really fast considering how big it is, and yeah, I would definitely recommend this one. We're down to the last 3 books of the year. So the next one I read was The Xmas Holidays by Zoe Allison. Cute little Christmas book. I rated this one 3 stars. It was, I cannot put my finger on it. What about this made me read it so slow? I don't know. Like, it was cute, but it was also cringy, and there was a big like miscommunication trope in this book, which I did not like, so maybe that's why it took me so long. I don't know. I would recommend it, but I think that there are a lot better Christmas books out there that you should read before you try to pick this one up. The second to last book that I read was Queen of Shadows, again in the Throne of Glass series. I rated this book 5 stars. After I read this book, I was like, wait, I like this book more than Heir of Fire. So I thought about revoking the 5 stars from Heir of Fire and giving it 4, but I feel like I just loved them on like a different scale of 5 stars. They were both so good, but yeah, this was 5 stars. This was the last Throne of Glass book that I read last year. And then the very last book that I read last year was The Inmate by Freda McFadden. I hope I said that right, but I did read it on my Kindle. So I'll insert a picture of the cover on the screen somewhere. I ended up giving that book 3 stars. I had to actually sit and think about what I was gonna rate this book, because although it was pretty good, it was a little cringy to me. I was getting whiplash from how many times I was changing my like guesses on the plot twist, because so much stuff kept happening. I don't know. It was pretty good, but I have read better thrillers. So yeah, that was all 2020. 46 books that I read last year. I'm hoping to read, I set my Goodreads goal for 65 in 2024, so we'll see if I can reach that. I think I will be able to, but I feel like I had a really, really good year of reading last year, and I love looking at my books and knowing that I read this many pieces of words on paper. It's crazy to think about, but yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this video. Let me know down in the comments some books that I should read in 2024. I'm always looking for new suggestions and recommendations. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to like and subscribe if you want to see more videos from me. I love you guys so much, and yeah, I will see you guys in the next video.